Greetings and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast whose quiet month of catching up on backlog titles has now been blown out of the water. I'm your host David Lloyd, and on this podcast we've got impressions from the latest Nintendo Direct, surprisingly a good one this year, or this quarter, or whatever you want to call it. In my eyes, I guess that's what happens when Square Enix dominates most of the Direct, but followed up after that, we're also going to talk about a bunch of upcoming games that released demos during the Steam Fest. So joining us from the opposite side of the world, just trying to stay warm during this dead of Australian winter, it's Paige Chamberlain.
Yeah, I'm in my off-brand hoodie, which I don't know if you know, it's like hoodie blankets, basically.
Like a Snuggie.
Yeah, like that, but I think more sort of a fleecy inside. I saw someone's video talking about saying like Australians have invented this in order to survive the winter in their own homes.
Well, you can have our heat or a little bit of it.
Oh
at least.
Yeah, take it all.
I just got through a 45 degree week. Or 100. What was that, like 118 or something like that for the American folks in the. It was I don't think it even got hot.
My last summer wasn't even didn't really get to very high in the 40s, maybe 40 something, but it was a colder summer than usual.
Almost felt like I was gonna sink into the road. It was so hot.
You probably could have fried some eggs on it.
Yeah, probably.
I saw something on Instagram. People they laid out cookies on a pan and left it on their windshield, and they were cooking up pretty good.
Well, it was a tough 4 days, but now I'm just getting hit with rain. But also bringing us his world premiere of exclusive Nintendo Direct impressions, it's Casey Gibson.
Yeah, first time getting to talk about it. Definitely some good stuff. It's funny. I think I went in with low expectations. I guess I don't really get too crazy for Nintendo Directs, but I figured I was like end of the year or end of the life cycle, but they really surprised me. I'm excited. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't have too high expectations. We were just hoping to hear what's going to fill out the rest of the year.
Everyone's like, give us a Zelda remake, Ocarina, or Wind Waker.
I was. There's some of the things I was sick of, people saying they wanted. So I'm glad they didn't get
it. No traditional Kirby to finish off the console.
No, well, we've had a lot of Kirby in all the prior years.
So we want Forgotten Lands 2.
Yeah,
on
that's
Switch
probably
2.
what they're doing. That's what I'm joking. Everything they didn't show at the Direct is just for the next system. But I'm excited to actually talk to people about it. Well, not in person, but talking anyway.
The power of the internet.
Although I feel like this Direct is sort of it's good, but then a lot of it was stuff we already knew about or was waiting for a long time. So it's not super overwhelming, but it was pretty stacked for RPG fans at least. Because they started with Mario and Luigi Brothership. No, I forgot.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
that's not what it's called.
I forgot because I was just reading it. I forgot to write what I was going to say. I was going to call it Brothership Bros to joke how the PAL versions add bros to the end of some of the games. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I think you, David, had the feeling that it didn't look too good. I've sort of warmed up on it, watching it again and seeing sort of the stretch in the animation. But initially, with the outlines and stuff, I was like, I didn't like the look of it.
I liked it.
It looked like it was on PS2. It's like, is this? I'm looking for the PS2 footage disclaimer at the bottom.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess, coming off the 3DS, it's almost like an upgrade, especially the remakes. They sort of, it's weird. The sprites were so good on the original ones, and then and I didn't hate the new art style, but I just think it wasn't, objectively, I don't think it was as good. But yeah, no, I thought this, visually I was okay with it. But from a gameplay, it looks awesome. Some new bros moves. There's that one part that they actually sort of meld together to jump over a spot, and it actually sort of looks like a spaceship. So that was what at first I was thinking, Brothership, what sort of a lame name. But I wonder if it is like, I wonder if there's more to
at
like
the end of the
an
trailer.
actual
There's
ship.
literally a ship, like a ship island that they're on. So
Oh yeah, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I think this is going to be awesome. I'm glad because obviously Paper Mario is sort of one thing and Mario and Luigi's another. So
it's
once
also
Alpha Dream went down the tubes,
we
we're
are
like,
getting 3 Mario RPGs within 12 months of each other. 2 of them are remakes, but like that's still crazy.
yeah, and yeah, November 7th is the release date for this. So
so it's 12 months.
yeah, right around the block.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, that is funny. Hey, it's a good time to like Mario and RPGs.
And yeah, it's the first time they're in 3D because I saw a post talking about how in Paper Jam, like the Mario and Luigi, who are meant to be 3D in that world, are sprites. In Paper Mario, it was a 3D model.
That is funny.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. There were some rumors going around, which I think they're kind of substantiated, saying that, like, because Nintendo doesn't like to say he's developing things until it's out, about
So
it maybe
weird.
being Ilka, and everyone being like, and I'm like, I don't think that's substantiated yet. But I'm getting annoyed because people are like, no, they make good games, and then they point to One Piece Odyssey, and I'm like, that wasn't a good game. Like, say Voice of Cards if you want to say they did a good game. But I don't. We'll find out. Nintendo themselves have said that some of the former Alpha
Original
Dream
people,
people
right?
are working on it, which is that was the other reason it was a big surprise, is because the people that were making the Mario and Luigi games went bankrupt a few years ago. And while we knew Nintendo owned the IP, a lot of people did think that was the end.
Well, luckily not.
It makes sense that they wouldn't buy them, because if they were bankrupt, like, the Nintendo doesn't need the name Alpha Dream. Like, they could easily just be like, all right, who wants to work?
Yeah.
Who wants to make a trip down here to Kyoto and work with us? Because we're not taking on your crappy debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone did a video trying to look into that, but being Japanese and all that, it's pretty hard to find out why they had so much debt and stuff. But they definitely didn't have a good working environment. So hopefully it's better for them now.
Well, who knows about the laws too? Like, you never know what the laws are. That maybe it just makes it like, not worth it at all to buy the company per se. And like you said, at this point, Nintendo doesn't care about they're not even naming who makes their games anymore. So why bother buying the company? Like, just
it doesn't
hire the devs. Those are the important people.
Well, Nintendo rarely buys studios. Like, I can't remember if so they bought a couple recently, or semi-recently. The newest thing was like a port studio, which was interesting. But there's only a couple things that they, like, I think maybe they own Monolith Soft and Next Level.
Didn't they buy Retro too?
Did they? I'm not sure. I'm just going to
I can't remember.
But then, there's 2 other ones that constantly make stuff pretty much just, Retro is a subsidiary, yeah. But say Halt Laboratory and Intelligent Systems, I don't think they're owned by Nintendo, but they pretty much make only for Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And Nintendo also does a lot of work with Bandai Namco as well. Obviously, I don't think Nintendo
definitely don't
can afford to buy Bandai Namco. But they don't need to. They can still get good exclusive games.
Elden Ring 2 exclusive to Switch 2.
Pocket edition
runs at 7 frames a second.
I just remember the Dark Souls port, and as soon as you couldn't map the buttons, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, this ain't it, Chief.
I'm not going from that controls to the Switch controls and trying to press the wrong, the cancel button is different.
Just adds to the difficulty.
Yeah.
The true gamers.
I do like it came with the most useless amiibo ever, the Solaire amiibo. He's very cute.
Well,
but he unlocks the emote, right? Which you can get in the game pretty quickly. So
yeah, but there's not many amiibos with really actual viable functionality anyway.
Well, I think that's part of why amiibos are sort of going down. It's like they're like, dang, we have to think of what to put in it, and we can't be bothered.
Honestly, just remove the stupid chip and just make the. It's like, come on, people are doing it to put it up on their shelves or their table. We don't need the facade of it unlocking anything. Because the funny thing is, once it's like they actually connect something cool to it, then people just get angry that they can't find the amiibos to get that cool feature.
Yeah, like, it's funny, they've been doing a lot of reprinting. Like, they reprinted a bunch of Samus amiibo, but not the Metroid, which unlocks, something in a game, like something substantial.
Well, wasn't Wolf Link specifically?
Yeah, one of the difficulties was locked behind the amiibo or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was it wasn't just like any Link. It had to be specifically the Wolf Link amiibo.
Well,
which was tougher to get, if I remember.
I just got him in the bundle, I think, but I remember getting pretty upset because they took the functionality of Wolf Link in Tears of the Kingdom, which probably just because it would have been too much going on with all the other stuff they had. But it was kind of upsetting because there was the functionality with the Wolf Link where you go to that Cavern of Shadows or something in the Wii U version of Twilight Princess, finish it, however many hearts you had left, it's saved to the amiibo. And then in Breath of the Wild, you could tap in and you'd have a Wolf Link with that many hearts.
Oh, that's cool.
So I actually made my husband play Twilight Princess on the Wii before Breath of the Wild came out so that I could have a strong Wolf Link. Although that said, he went to Death Mountain and couldn't deal with getting hit by like one black Lizardfloss, so...
In Tears of the Kingdom, I like to scan it in so I could get the different cloths for my paraglider.
When you scan him in Tears of the Kingdom, you just get a bundle of meat, and it's like, oh, okay.
Doesn't like a big treasure chest fall, and sometimes you might get a weapon, but usually it's just like meat. Just materials.
Yeah. So it's like sad that they changed that, but I know why they did, because Tears of the Kingdom is a Switch exclusive, so people aren't going to have the Wii U and be able to like make him have more than like 3 hearts or something, and the other like the sages and stuff like that would have been too much to do it with. Still mad about it though. Back to the direct though. I don't know if anyone cares about Fairy Tail 2, but they did announce that, so I guess it's sold. I guess it's sold all right. I guess it's sold well enough to make a sequel anyway.
Well, that's an anime, right? I believe.
Yeah. And they did, an anime game, but like a turn-based RPG, which they haven't really done that much, especially when Koei Tecmo does a game property. But I heard the first one was alright, but then I don't know if that's by anyone's standards or by Fairy Tail fan standards. So. And speaking of things that we were waiting forever for, Fantasian, which is now called Fantasian Neo Dimension, is coming to Switch and obviously other consoles holiday.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised it wasn't a like right now drop, really, because of how long we've been waiting on this. There's a Steam DB page. Lots of people have been saying it for a while, like saying that it's by Miss Walker, not Square Enix, but Square Enix was doing the port job, so that's why it's happening. But maybe it's getting a physical, so that's maybe why it's getting delayed. Also interesting is that there was a trademark for Fantasian something else, like a different
Dark
subtitle.
Edge, I think.
So so maybe we're getting a sequel.
Yeah, we'll see. It's funny because Sakaguchi, like, unless maybe he just sold the rights to Square Enix or something, because he actually tweeted that he intended this to be his final game. So I don't know if that means that Square Enix
would be working on the next thing or not.
Maybe he's either not involved in the sequel or his intention was to do it, but now Square Enix, because they want him to come back, maybe one last ride with Square Enix or something.
Oh, it was going to be my last one until they threw a big bundle of money at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sakaguchi's never said no to a developer or a publisher that's come with a sack full of money.
I can't blame him. Yeah, I don't know. The pedigree of this game seems more interesting to me than the game itself.
Yeah, well, I'm
looking at it. I don't know.
The thing I like the most is that now people can finally stop saying it's going to be because I think for the past 2 years people have been ever since that really really bad Steam quote unquote whatever, where they had the picture of the Fantasian from out, like it literally said on Apple Arcade, but it was in the Steam, like the Steam DB or something, and I'm like, no, so yeah, it's funny. I was gonna joke that maybe it's holiday because they're still trying to figure out how to get it to run on Switch, and it would be hilarious if it launched, because it is launching on every platform. It'd be hilarious if it was announced in the Switch release, and then when the holiday came, It released on every platform except Switch because it got delayed for
it's playable
development.
on an iPad, so it should be okay.
It'll be hilarious.
Yeah, hopefully, like we were talking about it previously, I hope it has touchscreen controls because I played like a little bit of part 1, which is not half the game, but like just how they dropped it on the iPad, and like I can't imagine doing that bending, like curving your attacks to get when you're in the dimension to hit multiple guys, trying to do that with a control stick, especially not. I hate the Switch joystick so bad.
Oh god, the drift! I can already
not the drift. They're
it.
so like tetchy. They're so like.
Yeah, they're not very precise. Like
no,
the small analog.
They move the tiniest bit, or they move really like too much. It's just the worst.
Yeah,
and then you just grab a PS5 controller and it just works, and you're like, oh.
It's like gone to heaven with those, like the controller. Like it's night and day the difference between the controllers.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I really hope they make the controllers not suck on the next
Switch too.
Switch.
Yeah.
And then another game getting freed from Apple Arcade prison is Hello Kitty Island Adventure, which is basically Hello Kitty Animal Crossing, although some people also compared it to Genshin because there's like some slight puzzles in areas and like a bit of gliding. Yes, I'm pretty excited about that, although I am worried about the performance because there was previews for Summer's Game Fest and even the PC version wasn't looking too hot in terms of frame rate.
Well, did you know this game was was announced like 15 years ago on South Park?
Yeah, the second that game actually came out on iPad, like everyone on TikTok was doing like the video to that sound when
Do you know that one, David?
Game.
No, I've never seen the.
It's the World of Warcraft episode of South Park, and everyone's playing Warcraft, and then Butters was like he says, I don't play Warcraft, and Cartman's like, well, what the heck? You're on your computer all the time. And he's like, yeah, but I'm playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Oh, really?
and then they made it a game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Much later.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. And then probably, I think news excited a lot of people. We finally got a release date for the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake, which is literally what they're calling it, which is...
And that's what won me. So we do our little predictions on for Talk Nintendo, and I got 1 point. I won with 1 point, and it was that it was going to get a release date here. So, heck yes, it looks.
I love that they tripled down too. Now we're getting.
Well, there was a lot of rumors even just before the direct that maybe they're taking so long because they're doing the whole trilogy, and they kind of are. But Dragon Quest III is getting released on its own first, which it is a pretty cool game. In 15th of November this year, and then Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are going to be bundled together, probably because they're not very long games, and sold next year. I'm
so excited.
I'm Boo the Fool because I bought the Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 on the Game Boy because I heard that was a good version of the game, and I'm like, well, I'll play 1 and 2 before 3 comes out, and they're like.
Yeah.
Well, now you can play 1 and 2, 3, and then you can play 1 and 2 again.
Yes, yeah. I was gonna say they're not long enough. They're probably short enough that I'd be actually willing to do that. So
I heard they're incredibly faithful to the original games too. So it'll be quite a similar experience, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I imagine it's just
so
a lot prettier.
good.
Maybe better, hopefully better music, and they might include some extra little things in it.
It would be cool if they did like the Beast catalog and all that. Like I like when they sort of lean into like the history of these games, and sort of give you those extra unlocks of like monsters and all that stuff, the bestiality or whatever they call it.
The what?
That's not bestiality.
Bestiary.
Potato.
We're gonna have to maybe censor that line there. Jeez, that's no.
Potato.
What's that rewind before recording?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of it, and I was like, I'm not even going to attempt it. And then, whatever. You miss all the shots you don't take. So,
yeah.
Well, I think David has a game that he wants to talk about.
I know. I just stuck it in because I was like, I couldn't remember the name, and I'm like, it's got to be one of these ones. And I just Googled everything on the list, and I'm like, none of these are the game I was.
Well, I didn't write every game down. I just wrote pretty much all the RPGs, except for this one, I guess, because I think it technically is, and a couple of extra little things that I was into. That's why I got other stuff at the bottom. Like if there's something you want to talk about,
this one, lost me right away.
Yeah.
Really? You're not a Danganronpa fan?
No, but honestly, even before I realized what it was, just like, oh, another like anime Japanese guy. Oh, Tokyo's in trouble. You know,
Well,
I've seen this one before.
This one, well, I wanted to mention it because, I'm an Ushikoshi fan. I love his stuff, and I saw him tweeting like really hardcore about this, which he usually doesn't do. But I guess like all of their financial ruin is on the line for this, according to him.
Please buy the game for the love of God.
Because apparently, so him and the Danganronpa team, I guess they've been working on this game for years. It's called the 100-line Last Defense Academy, and it's like it looks like it's some kind of like Danganronpa style game because they're in a school and there's like 20. It's very much like in that line or whatever. But then there appears to be like some kind of tactics-based combat or something. So anyway, I guess the whole thing is that they've been working on it, but I guess publishers have like dropped out or canceled the game, but they kept on making it on their own dime. And according to Ushikoshi, they've gone into debt to make this themselves and to publish it because I guess they believe in it that much that it's going to do well. So I don't know. We'll see what happens when it comes because the last time these guys worked together, World's End Club was a tire fire. Like it was awful. This looks.
Oh, was that by them too?
Yeah, like you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, but I thought it was like trying to be. Maybe sort of like
no, it was actually like, by them. I don't know what they were doing there.
We need to like co-thing and it's like, boo, you get better material.
Yeah, so hopefully this does well, and at least none of them go bankrupt over it. It would be nice if it did okay, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to them for that.
Yeah, and then I didn't really look at the Farmagia trailer too much. I had to go back and actually look at it because I just sort of looked at the graphics and I was like,
It's a pretty typical.
So it's sort of like a monster controlling running around game, but then it's also you have to farm them, so you're picking them out of the ground. That's one of the ones where it's like I definitely have to wait for reviews, and then even then I'm still gonna be like, I'm not sure. If people say it's good, am I gonna believe them? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like maybe it could be sort of fun, but probably not. Not for long. I don't know. To me, it looks like something you maybe dabble with. And then
it's a marvelous game.
Yeah, and some of them are not so good.
Yeah, go wait for the reviews on that one.
I see you don't have the Hobbit Animal Crossing game on here.
Or you can talk about it if you want. I did
No, I don't really want to.
I did watch someone talking about the Summer Game Fest. They talked about it, so I got to play it, and it was like they're talking about how it's really focused on cooking, obviously, and you can actually get pretty detailed in the cooking. Like when you're chopping up the meat, you make it smooth or like chunky or whatever, and that makes a difference. Or people request certain flavors, but not necessarily certain meals.
Textures. Interesting.
So if I did get it, I don't know if I'd get it on the Switch though. Like I am very much a Switch player, and that's the kind of device I'd want it on. But it's just like it's not gonna run good. It's not gonna look good. It's not.
Yeah,
sometimes
I really can't wait for the next one.
Sometimes you just got to make the sacrifice to play it on a machine you can't access as much. Like how I bought Vengeance on the PS5 because I wanted to play it on the 4K OLED screen, and it looks really nice and performs good. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that one on sale.
Which probably shouldn't be like super long. I don't know. I feel like
they're usually pretty quick, but I figured at worst case that like Black Friday,
like
that
Christmas
seems right
time.
for a nice sale.
I feel like that one would go on sale quick just because it's already been released before too. Like I remember some of those Persona 5, like Royal, I think went on sale pretty quick.
Yeah, because they know they're gonna get who's gonna get it probably within the first month, and then everyone else. Yeah.
And that other Persona game went on sale within like 2 weeks of coming out.
Yeah, so. I saw so many ads for Tactica, and I bought it and stuff, and then I saw like how quickly it went on sale. And I'm like, oh, that didn't that didn't sell too good. They probably blew too much money on marketing. You know, like people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you should spend more money on marketing," and then this time it's like, maybe you shouldn't have spent.
Should have
so
reeled
much
it
money
back, yeah.
Well,
advertising.
that's what drives me nuts with like when people like yell at Square Enix for like, "Oh, you didn't market the game. You didn't market the game." It's like you can't shine a turd. Like marketing's not
Yeah.
marketing is not the problem.
Well, when they had their investors meeting the other month, and they said they literally admitted to, you know, they'd made the mistake of cannibalizing their own sales, because that, what was it, maybe 2 years ago now, I don't know, where they put a lot of, you know, lower budget, well, they're not priced, RPGs within like a few months of each other. So,
A few weeks
and
with
you
each
know,
other.
that's what, yeah, that's what I mean. So people are like, well, I'm only
Yeah.
going to afford to buy one. I have to pick one. You know.
I'm contractually obligated to support them, but not weekly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's actually that section of games, I think. We just waited a few months and it was on sale. Like, damn, so they really did bad, because, you know, a lot of Japanese certain games are priced higher in Australia, and then they don't really go. It's like, you know, you got to buy it at that price or you're not going to find it again.
Yeah.
But no, stuff like the Dire Field and the Valkyrie Profile and the whatever other one came out at that same time, they all went on sale pretty quickly. So, you know, we got them for a good deal.
Yeah. I just picked up all those recently for like $20 from GameStop.
Nice. Yeah. And then they back to the direct, because not that I don't mind talking about other things, but just so we get through our list. The new Denpa Men, so that was like a 3DS game series, which I didn't really play, but I did buy like one of them before the eShop shut. Where it's a sort of a little dungeon crawler, but you go into actual turn-based battles. I know some people got a bit upset because they saw the me-like characters and thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah, Miitopia too.
Yeah. My only concern with this is that it's free to play. Or as we call it, fee to pay. So I'm not sure how fun this one's going to be, but at least I have one of the other ones if I don't like this one. And then sometimes I was having breaks. I was watching it at like midnight on a work day. So we got Phantom Brave The Lost Hero, which is actually a sequel to the first Phantom Brave, which I hadn't played. I know they did package it in some of their deals, but like currently the piece, just the original PC version, is like 80% off, so I just bought that for less than $5.
Well, it was originally a PS2 game, so
yeah, but like when you're on Steam, there's like Phantom Brave PC, which I think is meant to differentiate it from, like, they did some games bundled together recently. Like, you know, they did the first Rhapsody with like La Pachelle Tactics, and like they were calling it like I forget, but it was like, you know, 2 games on 1 disc thing. Which I guess I'm sort of glad I didn't get. I think I got the Rhapsody individually, because they did, you know, Rhapsody 1 with a different game that's sort of tied to it, and then they did 2 and 3 on another disc. But then they've announced that they're just going to do a trilogy where it's just them, and I'm like, why did you guys not do that in the first place? You know, just give us the whole actual little series.
Then they couldn't charge you multiple times for it.
Well, it's okay, because I only bought like that first one for cheap on Steam again. So that's what they forget. They have them on Steam. So, but that looked pretty nice. I was gonna say, like, I think they've started to work on their 3D a bit better than they did with, like, you know, the first Disgaea that went to 3D, which was also just not very good.
That was a 2015, right? I think 2025. Excuse me.
Yeah,
that was one of the. There were a few 2025ers. Yeah.
It was mostly like this year, but there were fewer. Like they're pushed out to later. Yeah. So I'll see how that goes. I'll obviously, hopefully, that gives me time to play the first game and see if I like it. Although I also wonder, because with, you know, for example, with Disgaea, you wait and they'll do the Disgaea.
Super cheap, right?
Disgaea. No, sorry. No, like, you know how like Atlas does the re-releases.
God, I got
Nisa does that with Disgaea. Because, you know, originally, for some reason in the West, one of the Disgaeas was Switch exclusive, and that was on PS4 in Japan. And then they did like the complete version, and that was on everything. And I was vindicated with the Steam reviews agreeing that it wasn't good. and then we got, I think, what are we up to, 7 on PS5. And then they're like, oh, actually, and now we're going to do a complete version of that too. So I'm like, well, do I get this one, or are they going to do the Disgaea route and just bundle all the DLCs later on?
Yeah, I have a feeling that seems to be very popular these days.
Well, I think it's a holdover from what, like, they used to do back at pre when they had DLC, because like it was very common with Monster Hunter, whereas now Monster Hunter is like we just do it as a DLC expansion rather than selling you a separate copy of the game. And Atlas said they do want to start just doing the DLC, so they did that with like,
yeah.
It
feels better. But... like it does. Like it might still be very similar, I guess, in the long terms. But yeah, like paying for like an expansion that isn't a full price feels better.
Yeah. So hopefully they start to work on that, because it's making me go, maybe I don't want to get your game. Like, but for me, I think the biggest news in this direct was The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
No.
I mean, people were arguing about the graphics of that one already. So.
Oh yeah, I saw the thread on Twitter going out. But yeah, this game looks freaking incredible.
Yeah, I almost wanted to do like I've seen a lot of bad takes on it, and I want to like argue against them, because I'm like, what do you mean? But
I think
the
reactions, awesome.
Yeah, the reactions were so funny though, because you literally have people go like they're like, it's a Zelda game, and it's very funny because like they're talking about like, oh, you play as Zelda, but they're just in the context of just saying it's a Zelda game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so playable Zelda for definitely totally the first time. There was never anything else.
No, this isn't Linkle.
Yes, first time in a mainline title. Anyway, but yeah, people are trying to argue it's not mainline, and it's like, I guess because people have grown up and not even known 2D Zelda. Apparently.
Yeah, this is mainline. Yeah. It's funny when I first saw when they first started it. I was like, obviously it's Link's Awakening engine, and I was like, are they doing like a link to the past? And then like, especially with like the beginning scene when Link is fighting Ganon there, and then like when they did the after he'd already fallen in the hole, and they sort of did like almost the Breath of the Wild pan out, and it looks sort of similar to the Link Between Worlds map, but yeah, then all of a sudden they hit you with the Echoes of the Wisdom, and it's like, actually Zelda's just a necromancer.
Yeah.
So she can
I like that
bodies.
They did the sort of like the Breath of the Wild shot, so it would click in people's heads, because it took some people were like immediate, like when legit. She was getting broke out the crystal, I kept going like, are you like serious? Or, like, don't mess with me, don't like you better not be playing with me. And then it's like, oh, definitely it is her. So I'm just super happy about that. Nintendo said women can have rights finally this year.
2024, it's a big year.
And we've been waiting in 2D Zelda for ages as well. So that's sort of like, I'm surprised by that Zelda thing, but not the 2D Zelda thing. And they're also incorporating some of the way stuff works in the newer Zelda games, where you're just messing with things and it's really weird and fun.
Yeah, like it's not a one answer puzzle.
No. Which some people are arguing about, and I'm like, the only thing I'm concerned about is like, yeah, they haven't given her a direct weapon. Like you can drop rocks, and I'm like, well, I hope we can maybe at least get like a bow or a bomb bag, so I'm not having to like redo the spells just to like throw projectiles, right? And then you've got those guys, like you can copy monsters and temporarily use them, and it says they fight by your side, which makes me think, well, should I be able to fight, really? I did also see the spinner in the trailer, so we do have like, yeah, a couple things. But I just
my favorite was the
slightly more direct. Yeah.
Nintendo may have given women rights, but they won't give them the right to fight.
Yeah. They don't get to yield weapons.
No, just big rocks.
They just use their voodoo magic.
Yeah. And everyone's hoping that Kakus are in the game, because.
Oh man, you could summon a whole bunch of those.
Yeah. Ganon versus.
Honestly, to me, the most exciting thing is it's September 26th.
Yes.
It's like 3 months from when we're recording this podcast, which is awesome.
Very rude
so
that
good.
it's 2 days after my birthday and not on my birthday. But I'll just wait, I guess.
You'll allow it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll allow it. I'm also hoping, I don't really like her main outfit, but she's in her peasant disguise / you can't run around in your royal garb with trampolines and beds.
Yeah,
I
you can't have
suppose.
your tiara and crown and everything.
Maybe that'll be DLC they sell.
But I hope
like
there'll
the
be
Tifa bikini.
Yeah.
I hope that they might do an amiibo just so it can go with my Link's Awakening one. And I'm not.
I bet you they will.
They didn't announce it, but like I said, I'm not rolling it out because they've just been really late with amiibo lately. Like, we got one Link for Tears of the Kingdom, but then Zelda and Ganondorf were much later. And Xenoblade, we got amiibos announced like a year after. So it's still a possibility, even though they haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, normally they do, especially with like a main, franchise. They did announce a Hyrule Edition
Yes.
Switch Lite, which looks really, really nice. But
That's a Switch Lite.
it's like, yeah, it's funny. I was almost like, I wonder, like, those things appreciate in value so much.
Yeah, they
it's like,
do.
you just buy one and throw it in the closet.
Someone was talking about that, and I was just thinking of that Rick and Morty bit where they're buying the Legend of Zelda 3DS.
Dude, I that's one I wish I didn't sell, but I also it was.
Who knows?
I had the 3DS Majora's Mask one. Oh,
Yeah.
It was so good.
Who knows what a Switch Mini will sell for? Especially one that has working analog sticks.
Yeah.
Well, let's not
Temporarily.
assume they're working.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, it's when people sell sealed games, and I'm like, well, you haven't been able to tell me if the game actually works, though. It could have been defective from manufacturing. Like, you haven't even opened to see if the disc might not even be in there. Like,
Yeah, I
getting it.
remember seeing a story on Reddit of someone like, I bought the game and there's just nothing in there.
Yep. And David wants to skip us, but I only had like one thing to say about the Romancing Saga 2 remake, other than it being a surprise.
Sorry.
It looks better than the new Saga game that came out this year by like a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So weird. And it's actually getting a physical here, unlike.
I guess maybe 2 has. I don't know the Romancing Saga fan base well. Like, is 2 maybe like held in super high regard? So they sort of.
I assume it's the most popular one. Yeah.
So they're like.
I still
let's
think
make sure it's
Kawazu
great.
has pictures of Square Enix
Somebody.
executives, and they're in a vault somewhere, and Square has to do his bidding. Like this,
Yeah.
this is the only way that that Saga
keep pumping them out.
is. It's like the #1 franchise, and there must be like 3 Saga games for every Final Fantasy or every like it's Dragon Quest. Like it's insane. Like how many of these games are coming
Well,
out?
all the Saga games are coming to like a mobile and stuff, so maybe they're just very popular in the mobile scene because like a lot of the other things aren't coming to mobile, so that could be.
I've
part of
actually
it
heard
too.
Saga's bigger in Japan. Like
Yeah.
we just
And well, like I said, the
yeah.
mobile is probably
Those
part
poor
of it
folks.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mobile division is the only part that's making money for Square Enix right now. So
And
that's probably why.
Well, they
whoever
made a
worked
few
on
bucks on
Reaper-
the Final Fantasy trading cards because it's KC9 now. So
Yeah, they're getting yeah. They're like,
but
wow, look at this, we're getting sales up the yin yang.
Oh, oh.
Pokemon sales
300% increase in.
I was gonna say 200. I was gonna say 200% increase. There's
Guys,
two Jimmies in North America that are
we
buying
sold-
these packs.
We sold two starter
That
kits.
bit
It's
in The
unbelievable.
Simpsons where like Lisa buys Al Gore's book. But yeah, I'll probably get this. I did not get the Emerald Beyond, but this is actually releasing in my region for one thing. And might not have annoying puzzles. I don't know. At least it
I
looks
still
nice
haven't
anyway.
played. I still haven't played the original Romance Saga 2
Well, no, you
that I
don't need
bought.
to.
Yeah,
Just
I
play
think
again.
I
It's
know-
lots more money.
What's his face? I believe Jordan got me a Romancing Saga, I think, for Christmas one year.
he got you #3. I think it was last year.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just to last, I know, like you said, we're sort of moving past the direct. But yeah, I can't believe they. Well, I can and can't. I didn't think they were going to show Prime 4, to be honest. Because I was like, that's going to be a Switch 2 game, no doubt about it. But I think it's
Still
definitely
could be.
get
2025.
wild. Yeah, I think it's going to get the dual release treatment.
I always see the trick is you always got to buy the first version too. Like I got my Wii U copies of Breath of the Wild, and
I did that. I had a sealed one, but then I sold it when I sold all my games. But it definitely looks like a Prime game, so that's cool. I really want to get back and replay the HD remake of the first one, or the whatever remaster, whatever they call it, to get in the mood, because I really liked that game back in the day. It's been a while.
Yeah, you got to find out if it holds true.
Yeah, there's not much. I'm assuming they're not going to be remastering 2 and 3 at this point, because I don't think there's.
The only way I could see is if maybe like 4 like blows the door off, like in terms of sales, and like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, maybe we could remaster 2 and 3 to capitalize while we work on a hypothetical 5th, you know?
In 2042.
Yeah, on the Switch 8. But yeah, no, I think 1 was, I played them all back in the day, and like I said, it's sort of fuzzy memory, but I'm pretty sure 1 is like by far the best. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, overall though, and like there's some other games we won't get into, but like another Mario Party game and some stuff that looks pretty good.
I didn't write those down because they weren't as, they're fun, but
for
they're not
time's sake.
Yeah.
So what was the highlight then? I would Dragon Quest 3 was my highlight, I think. The most likely purchase of all. What's
my highlight would be, Zelda Echoes of the Wisdom being number 1, and then Mario and Luigi Brothership number 2, and then Dragon Quest 3. But that's mainly just because we already knew so much about Dragon Quest 3. But I am very stoked to get a date and then see that the first 2 are coming as well. But definitely Zelda and Mario and Luigi are pretty bright spots for me. I'm excited.
Mine is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is the main thing. Like
Zelda
like
Four
I said,
Swords.
It's Dragon Quest, and Fantasia is also exciting, but we've been waiting forever. Mario and Luigi is a nice surprise. Although I'm actually, because I'm supposed to be going to Japan at the end of the year, and there's a Dragon Quest Island, which it's like there's like a theme park, and there's like Dragon Quest, Godzilla, Naruto, like some other licensed properties, basically. But like I guess they've just put it on a moat, so it's like a little island.
Are you gonna get like a coffee with like a slime in the foam?
Maybe.
I hope so.
But they do, they do little promotions and stuff, and I'm going there like the month after Dragon Quest 3 comes out, so there's probably going to be like some Dragon Quest 3
it's going to be heck yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get like, all right, you're going to have to get us some plushies, and I'll pay the absurd amount of shipping.
Well, I know there's a plushie that's exclusive to them, which is an onion slime, because like I think the area, I guess, grows onions or something. So if you want that one, you can get that.
Oh man, I gotta check. I'm checking a picture out. Oh my god, yeah. We might have to make that happen.
Yeah, you guys a little onion.
It looks so good. Does it come with the like? Oh my god. Excuse me. I'm seeing the onion, and then it's got like a sack on the outside. Does it shed the sack?
Maybe, I don't know. I do have a slime from the Dragon Quest Monsters game where it's like that. The choco slime, like the one where it's in a pastry, and you can actually take the slime out of the pastry part.
I linked a picture in the chat.
Where are we?
I can see I see a picture of the slime outside of the bag. So
I see the bag, but the bag has a slime face on it, so you could presumably
have 2.
He could have it. He could have his skin, or it could.
I'm seeing that one. Maybe, but it depends if I guess what is in stock when I'm actually there. So.
Just buy like 100 of them and then put them online. You'll be
I have to take
the rest of
home.
your gaming year.
I'm definitely not marking these up.
Scalper.
But I guess before the direct, there was the Steam Next Fest.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, so we got a few of those games. So I'll start with the one that I think I definitely finished it. It's funny. So this is Sacrifier. So this came from the makers of Regalia of Monarchs and Men. Actually, sort of half remember reviewing this back in the day.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was like the humor of it. I think it was like some kind of like city building mechanic or something. I can't remember, but I just remember it being kind of funny. But what stood out to me when I initially saw it was that I like the pixel graphics. They're pretty neat.
It looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it looks, and it plays fantastic. Like I played this on Steam Deck, and it's smooth as butter and just like looks terrific.
Yeah, it's like a lot of games where it's not necessarily doing the HD 2D style, but I guess they're kind of inspired by actually elevating pixel art with extra effects and detail and stuff, rather than just trying to be old style.
Yeah, and it kind of uses like this. It's almost kind of like Rebirth, the style of combat where when the character stops moving, everything kind of stops, and then you can choose the attack. And I don't know, it took me a while to really like understand how the battle system worked, because it takes action points to do the moves, but then the action, like, so when you do the moves, then you kind of have to run around for the action point meter to recharge. But then if you stop and hold the button, it recharges faster, but then it makes you vulnerable. Like it's kind of this weird system.
Yeah, I didn't play very much of it all because I was just confused by that, and I'm playing it late at night too. This is actually like a play test and not a demo, sort of. So it's only available for it's going to probably be not available by the time this podcast goes up. But I'm like, so I need to play it a bit more because I need to get a handle of the combat mechanics to know if I'm actually going to be interested in the game, because and I feel like they're going to definitely benefit from having an actual like demo, because otherwise people are just going to buy the game and be like, I don't get this, and refund it.
Yeah, it took like I was probably 8 or 9 fights in before I finally like, okay, I'm kind of understanding, because there's like,
is there not like a good tutorial, or is it just sort of throw you out?
It just kind of throws you in there, because they explain like, so there's like normal attacks, there's power attacks, but then the normal attacks use one action point, the heavy attacks use 2 action points, but then if you combo them in a certain order, they add action points back into your like they recharge the action points on the fly, so then you can do like combos of different moves and stuff. But then there's also like magic on top of that. Like it's really confusing. Like it takes a while, like it takes a good chunk of time to really understand it. And then there's like multiple enemies on, like, so you're fighting in like this 3D battlefield, almost like an isometric. So you're not only are you doing those, but then you have to dodge enemy attacks at the same time. And then to make it more confusing, there's shields and health. and certain moves recharge your shields, and then there's like random drops on the battlefield while you're fighting. So like you could recharge your health or your shields while you're fighting by just like picking up the items that drop, like, and they're only there for a certain period of time. Like they'll disappear after a few seconds, so you have to really like run to the item and get it. And then but then you also have magic that can heal yourself, but there's only so many times you can use it in a battle. Like it's all over the place.
Yeah, I think if it's too complicated for me, I'll just go and actually play my copy of Star Ocean 2 instead.
Well, Star Ocean was less complicated than this, and
that's what I'm saying.
It's pretty similar. It's a good comparison actually, because it does kind of play the same way.
But maybe a bit less annoying.
Yeah, potentially. But then there's just I'll make one last comment about the story, because there's kind of like this weird, like, the character that you play as is like what is it, like a monk in a church, but then you find out like there potentially is like something sinister about the church, and
church bad.
Yeah, it seems like one of these ones where it's like there's like an evil person that comes and steals something from the church, but then you're gonna find out that the church was evil all along or something. Like I don't know. I feel like they've got like it might be a little cliche that way. So I don't know. We'll see. It definitely interested enough that I'll probably either try to review it or maybe pick it up if it's not too expensive.
What is too expensive for you in terms of like? I know a lot of indie games are releasing at that sort of, I guess, above 40 Australian dollars, and for
that's
me,
too much.
Yeah, for me,
25 or less.
Because I'm taking into the fact that, like, you know, Australian stuff in Australia costs more in general, and at the moment our exchange rate is actually bad. So you know, being a bit more fair. But for me, if a digital game is more than $40, I don't want to play for it because, you know, like I could pay the extra to get a physical when that releases, you know.
Yeah.
Or if a physical game is more than $100, I don't want to pay for it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Because the PlayStation games now, so like I haven't bought Stellar Blade because it's like 110 at the cheapest, you know, 125 full price. And it's like, no.
Well, that feels like a one that'll be like a physical copy could be on sale like 6 months down the road, sort of
not
thing.
right now though, so we'll see.
Yeah.
At least unlike the anime games where they're charging $90 or whatever, like I know that should go on sale and it should be in stock. Whereas like the niche games, it's like it might be on sale but only in this one store. And
yeah, if you're lucky to find it.
Yeah. So one demo I played was Demon School, which is thankfully because like some of the demos got taken off because the way the Steam Next Fest is, it's like only available while the fest is on, and then you go in like your Steam library and you can't play it anymore. This one is still up, so that's good. And this is one I've been waiting on for a while. I think it's similar to the early Persona games, like a little bit, like in terms of vibes and the like sort of visuals a little bit. Not that I've played those, but this is like you're in high school. Instead of doing any actual schoolwork, you're just being given assignments to do with like demons. And then the combat is like SRPG-ish, more tactics-ish, I think, than RPG.
Oh, I wish I had played this one then.
Looks
it's still
almost
available
like a grid,
to play,
right? Yeah,
but it was a bit. Because it's not a carryover demo. I didn't finish it because it puts you in it the second week and stuff, and then you have to just like look at the tutorial in the menu to figure out what you're doing, how to do anything. Because basically you move into attack, so like you move into somebody you're doing attack unless you're doing a special attack. So that was the first bit where I was trying to figure it out. And you've got shared action points across your whole party, and I think a couple of party members can't attack from what I saw. So that was confusing to me as well. So it took like a few fights until I sort of understood what I was doing. And you sort of on the grid you're moving. We can move diagonally or like forwards, backwards, or do a little sidestep. Which the sidesteps let you then do another action for like free, basically. So it's really about positioning yourself because you're just sort of slamming into guys. One thing I sort of didn't like about it is it's one of those ones where it feels like it's more like a puzzle game than a tactics, because you've got, at the end you get graded and it's sort of like, oh, you should be able to beat this fight in 3 turns. So It seems like you don't have to do it in a very specific way, but these fights are built to basically be done in a particular pattern. And that's something I don't really like about like when these kind of games, it just feels like, well, it's not really my options. And then reinforcements will come in randomly and you don't even know where they're going to come in from on the map. But basically you take out a minimum number of demons and then you bring at least one person to the edge and they can seal the things so they go away. But visually it looks really nice, and you can also do some fishing and you collect very funny fish like a hippocampus head. But I didn't get to the boss fight. And you've only got like 3 hit points. Everything's very serious. Like, the guys revive at the end of the fight or whatever, but you've got to be very particular and very careful.
Yeah, small window for error.
Yeah, so I am interested in it, but I was like, well, there's no point in me finishing it because it's not a carryover type of demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that
coming out September, I think.
Oh,
yes, 13th of September. Well, it's been waiting for a while, and then we hadn't heard anything. other than I think I remember filming fun of them because they were like talking about like, oh, we have like a spell that casts in like death within a few turns, and like that's a new thing, and everyone's like June from Final Fantasy, Dire Song from Pokemon, like it's not it's not a unique thing, and they're like, oops. Even though promoting, but they've done like that. Yeah, it was weird because for this Summer Games Fest, they did like here's a trailer about boss mechanics, here's a trailer about the characters, and no date, and then we finally got the date at one of the other shows. Yeah, so I'm I guess glad that I am not reviewing anymore at the moment because I've had myself sitting on the list to do this for like a long time, waiting for it to come out. And I'm like, I
you can actually enjoy your time now.
Yes, I don't think I'd have too much fun with the pressure of trying to figure out the bosses and stuff.
Or delete the game from your console if you don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like forget about it.
Never have to think about it again.
Yeah. It's funny when you describe the combat system of Demon School. It sounds almost identical to the other Steam game that I played, which is Tactical Breach Wizards.
It's all a bit different because like you move and then you press an attack, whereas this like it was moving, attacked.
Yeah, because this one is again it's a tactics based combat, but yeah, there's clearly like one way they want you to win all. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if it changes as you get into the game, but that demo was definitely like, oh, here's a room and there's one good way to do it, and then here's another room and here's another good way to do it.
Yeah, because I didn't finish the Tactical Breach demo, but once you get past like that, I think I was in the second or third area, and it was like it was giving you get bonuses to unlock cool outfits basically if you do these extra things. So it's like, okay, well, there's a very specific way to get these extra objectives done. Which I was, again, not really a fan of, but I do like. First of all, this is a game that's been on my wish list since 2019.
Dang.
That's how long we've been waiting for this game. And it looks nice now.
Out in August.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's interesting to look at because it's like wizards and witches, and they're wearing high-vis vests and riot shields, and like it's very funny.
There's a lot of humor in it. Like,
yes,
it like all of the dialogue is basically just all humor.
Yeah, although you can skip it a bit if you just want to get into the into the fight. Yeah. Very heavy focus on throwing people out of windows too.
Oh, very yeah.
Always a good option.
Yeah, it is fun. I will admit, by the time that the demo was done, I'm like, is there going to be any rooms where I don't throw people out the window, or is this just what the game is?
Yeah.
Like, sir, you're gonna take some throws out the window. You're gonna enjoy it.
Well, what's funny too is that there's a joke to like when you finish the demo, there's like this thing where they're walking out of the building and all the people they thrown out of the windows are like hanging in midair because like they didn't want to kill them because they were cops. So she like I guess the wizard had cast like some kind of like gravity spell, so they were tossed out the window but not to their deaths.
Just out of the room.
Yeah.
Well, and I think because you were in a 2 versus multiple people situation, so it was like, let's get rid of this really tough guy by just throwing him out the window, so then you don't have to reduce his health down.
Yeah. So, we'll see what the rest of the game's like.
And
it seemed promising anyway.
There were some cool things, like you'd use an ability to like set up almost like an Overwatch, but they had to walk across a specific line and not just move at all. Yeah. So like things like that you could set up for. And that is coming out soon too. I think it is
August 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, August 22nd.
And then I will talk about one more, which is Wonder Stars, which is one I mentioned when I talked about Summer Games Fest stuff, where they were really focusing on it being a playable anime. And by anime, they mean specifically Dragon Ball. Like characters are named after fruits, like your Ringo, some other character names too were just like your grandmother's like Peach and like whatever in Japanese. There's a lot of like furries, so you just like a wolf guy, a cat guy. That was
right up David's alley.
That was common. It was common in early Dragon Ball, and like most of the art looks very much like a Dragon Ball style, except for maybe like a couple particular enemies where they look a bit more unique or not like strictly stuck to having to look that particular way. And what it is a turn-based RPG, although I think it's also sort of a roguelite, which I didn't really notice until I was playing it, because you basically have like these maps, and then you move across like different parts of the map to run into an encounter, run into like a pickup or an event, and you can get temporary boosts which only last for that episode. So I didn't die, but I don't know if I died if I would have to redo the whole episode or just like the whole map or something. I don't know how much it is. But it was cool to like play into picking up different boosts based on what I think I'd like more. Because the RPG thing with is word based, so you have words like kick or punch, and you like click on that, and you have the space to add a couple more words. So you add like I don't have my screenshots, but there's a word for like fire or a word for wind. So you got elements, or if you can make it fast. So then if you click on like do a fast kick, then the regen for that word, because you've got to wait like 2 turns or so, will be faster. So you can redo that same type of attack next turn. The fast will go away, but like if you because they have different weak points. Then you'll want to like keep trying to use that particular attack, because they'll block different types of damage. And then there'll be a word that like it'll attack multiple enemies, or you'll just combine lots of them together. Just gonna go here and see if I can find my screenshots again. But it's very, and then if you do weak points, you get like some extra points which you can click on to add extra word space, so you can really, if you know what they're weak to and everything, you can really lay the paint on in like a single turn. You can just hit them with like super awesome flare kick or whatever they're weak to. So that's like a really fun thing to play around with. And then you've got the map going around mechanic to sort of the other thing is you can avoid knocking people out and just go peace, and then so they're not actually like hurt like they are, but like they're not knocked out, and then so some of them will join you, and then you'll get you can have 2 equipped to you, like they're not going to attack, but like you get a buff, like so one of them I kept on was that they'd tell me one of their like weaknesses or something, so that was very helpful. And you get one particular word, it's like you fight a crab, like the crab guy with pants, and then you might get the word for like jab, so then that's a whole new ability you get specifically just because you've equipped them. And you're going through like the map and picking up new words to be able to do that sort of stuff. And this one does not have a date though, but I'm pretty interested in it. I liked that fun little combat mechanic. There was some like UI issues with the demo, but that's not like the biggest deal. So it's really fun little interesting system. And the story itself too was also very Dragon Ball. It wasn't just how it looked; it was literally like you're on like this island, and then like someone from Space Crash lands, and they have a piece of a map which like points to your piece of the map, and then connects to get like it. Yeah, so it's like, but it's also someone showing about it because someone else was playing it, and they're saying like, oh, this seems very Venezuelan or something, and I'm like, well, it was shown off in the Latin game showcase, so like it probably is. And then some of the healing items you pick up are like, I had to Google them, but they were like some meals from there. So that's fun too, that it has like a little cultural touch in it, even though they're very much more focused on the anime influence. So hopefully that comes out kind of soon. It doesn't have a release date, so maybe like early next year or something.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's too far away.
Yeah. Then again, maybe they just started from like the start of the, they just started the game from the start of the game, so they're going to do the rest of it. But yeah, and there was like some other ones I sort of played like a little bit, but thankfully some of those demos are still up, so I can still play like the Keylocker demo, which they've said they're going to update because they've gotten some player feedback and things like that. So not too many of like a lot of times, like I said, I'll click on my like list and I'm like, oh, I can't play any of these now. But most of these are still up, like Tactical Breach Wizards is, Wonder Star, like all the ones that you talked about are, I think.
Yeah.
And then like, I didn't want to bring up like Dungeons of Hinterberg because that's coming out in a month. So, and I'll probably get it on Game Pass. I do say like, yeah, the demos are I'm glad that that's coming back because that did definitely sell me on some games. Like I wasn't really sure how, Hinterberg would play because a lot of, maybe not indie, but like, non AAA action games can feel kind of like just jank. And then it wasn't. So like it was good to actually just play it and see what it was actually like for yourself. And then, playing around with Wonder Stars being like, oh, that's really fun. Or, like I said, I need to play the Sacrifice playtest because otherwise I'm not sure if I am going to get it. Like, yeah. So I'm glad that's a thing because I remember people were talking about like, oh, they stopped doing demos because demos are actually like bad for sales. But I guess now we found out it's the opposite. I think especially for indie games, like if they don't get a chance to play your game, it's like
there's just too many games to like go in blind,
It's only bad for sales if the game stinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. yeah. If you're confident, put out that demo, baby.
Yep. Well, I guess this is probably a good spot to wrap up the episode.
Sorry, I remember one bit of news I didn't write because, like, the Square Enix stuff wasn't the direct, except like in between some of our episodes, they gave us the Visions of Mana release date because that was because it's not coming to Switch. So it was like they didn't put it in Summer's Game Fest, so they mentioned it on its own trailer, and then it's not coming to Switch. It wasn't a direct, so that's very soon because that's the 29th of August.
Dang.
I don't know if you had any opinions about that. But what I have heard is that you should get the PS5 version and not the PS4 version. So.
I think that's always probably a safe bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what a year for RPGs.
Oh, so
I mean, you played that new Mana game, didn't you, Casey? The Trials of Mana?
I don't think I beat it.
I definitely
did play it.
I think I played enough that I don't want to restart the game, but I'm like, I've got my mid log of the games where it's like, okay, I'm just going to keep playing it whenever I get back to it and just figure it out from there.
Hey, Paige, did you play Rebirth?
No.
What are you doing with your life?
I'm waiting for all of them to be out.
Oh, no.
Although my husband has bought them, so like if I did want to play them, I can.
Have you not played Remake then?
No.
I mean, yeah. All I'm going to say is you literally have the best game ever made sitting in your house. You're not playing it.
See, I was waiting for that phone one, but then turns out that's also episodic. So I was like, because like they delayed it, so like maybe it's not. But
that one stinks.
It is just episodic. So it's like, visually, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like what a nice version of like the original game would be like, where it looks sort of the old style, but the graphics are, so they've got the chibi graphics and then nice graphics for the battles.
Yeah.
But no, it's not.
No,
not something I want to play.
If it was the actual game, then I would say yes. But no, it's like these little like 2 minute. It's like 2 minutes of the game, and then it's like 5 to 8 minutes of garbage. Of like trying to get through the menus and getting through the ads and all that garbage, and then it's just, I don't know what they were thinking.
That or you could just play the best game ever made that's already bought in your house,
Yeah.
Just started out.
Well, I tried playing the you got to play the original first though, right? Because it's like
the original as in like the PS1 release.
Or like a port of that at least.
I don't think you need to.
Oh, but it's like the the new Scott Pilgrim anime or the Evangelion movies where it makes you think like it's a remake, but actually it's a sequel.
Yeah, like you would get more out of it if you played the original first, but I mean,
you would get more, but I don't think it's necessary, especially when you consider like realistically, you're looking at like, I mean, I think David and I put in like 90 into Rebirth. Yeah. If you didn't do everything, you're probably looking at like 60 to 70 hours plus.
You could probably just watch a video about the first, like if you watched a 1 or 2 hour video about
I know some of the main, like, there's obviously the one main plot point that was spoiled, and then my husband blabbed about some other things like Kate Sith and whatever, so...
Well, you know what's funny is like you don't even need to know any of that stuff for these games because it doesn't get so little happens in the original, and like it was funny because I after I played Remake, I ended up playing the original before Rebirth, or like half of it, and then I'm realizing like so much less happens than you realize. like it's you know, like the Midgar section is like I think 68 hours in the original, but it's like
20
I don't
to
know,
25 in like in the remake, right? Maybe even
Yeah.
30, something like that. Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, if you had all the time in the world, like I would definitely say, you know, the original would be worth playing. But given that that's a lot of time commitment between that and then the remakes, like you could just easily play the remakes and still have a very enjoyable time.
I'm taking my time playing through Shin Megami Tensei Vengeance, and I'm got other monster collecting games, and you know,
Yeah,
Monkey
and I
Ball's
know
coming
that's
out
a-
this
a
week.
beefy
Like I
one,
don't,
too.
Vengeance is a good game though.
I don't
Yeah.
have time.
Or SMT5, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really stoked to play that later this year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I'm finally. I
I've
can't
done
tell you
enough
what
long
I'm
RPGs
playing.
this year.
Or I can't say in the recording what I'm playing, Casey, but I finally gotten over my Rebirth depression. Reviewing a game that's that will surprise no one that I'm in love with, and it's finally gotten me out of my funk.
You got Hatch Tails early, huh?
Well, we gotta end on there. You gotta end on a high note. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I guess that will do it for this episode. I know we've got well, Casey and I still have the Rebirth finale episode that we recorded like a month ago that I've been holding on to for the right moment. So that might be coming up soon. But yeah, we got some. I know we'll have some Trails Through Daybreak, an episode about that coming up in the not too distant future, and
we still got to talk about the 2 Paper Mario games I've played.
Yeah,
I think Jordan's got something to do with you. Like,
I'm gonna have some Dark Souls 3 and some Dawn Trail Final Fantasy 14 to talk about in the upcoming weeks as well.
Yeah, so no shortage.
And of course, our card game adventures.
Yeah, I think we'll save that for the Patreon. We'll show everyone how we figured out how to play Final Fantasy, the trading card game.
Note, we have not figured out how to play the trading card game yet, but we will.
It might. It'll be fun. We might record a video for it too to show just how useless we have been at reading the manual.
3 years from now, people are like, I wonder where that video is, and it's not for a lack of trying. We're just still trying to wrap our heads around it.
Yeah, still trying to figure out the rules, guys. But yeah, I guess that will do it for this week's episode. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you out at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye.
Adios.